Very, very excited to have Jason Velez joining us, CEO and founder at One Law.
All right, my name is Jason Velez. While they queue up the slide, I'll try to give you a little background. I'm a practicing attorney. I have been involved in kind of the, I guess you could say, the crypto space, or specifically blockchain and Bitcoin. We, in 2014, became one of the first law firms in the United States to accept Bitcoin and started engaging in our own review of the regulatory and taxation issues. Along the way, I've been very excited with what can be done using blockchain technology to hopefully create a better world. My company's name is One Law, and it's founded on the principle of the Golden Rule, the idea that we should do unto others as we would want them to do unto us. And that's something that transcends religion, really transcends society, and hopefully it's a principle around which we can all gather and, like I said, make the world a better place. I believe that blockchain, smart contracts, and the like have the potential to transform, if not end, disputes as we know it. I guess they'll give me the heads up. And so we have been actively involved in the blockchain space. I think I've circled the globe now a couple of times trying to figure out navigating the regulatory space, trying not to run afoul. You know, we aren't running an ICO. We do have a token in our platform, and we're trying to figure out, you know, what we can do with it. You hear so many competing theories, and I find it interesting that you have in December the SEC commissioner telling us that, you know, basically these all look like securities, but then it says footnote that this is his personal opinion, not the SEC's opinion, but it's on SEC letterhead, and so it seems a little disingenuous to me. And then about a month ago, issues a statement, no, a couple of weeks ago, issues a statement saying, well, we don't want to put them all in the same sandbox. And so it's kind of frustrating to be here in the United States, and, you know, one of the largest legal markets, about 50% of the global market, and not being given any direction. And there's a problem that blockchain represents a solution for. And are we good? Okay, so I'll talk to you a little bit about what I call crypto for justice. Give you a little bit of background, mention the jumping into the Bitcoin space in 2014. We have a couple patent pending technologies regarding delivery of legal services, and we won some awards. The global legal market, I'm trying to give people a little bit of background. It's a $700 billion a year annual market. There is no market leader. Despite the large firms that are out there, there's no market leader in the global legal market or the domestic. 4 to 5% annual growth. Law business in the United States, I don't think many people realize this, but 88% of the law firms in the United States are 1 to 4 lawyer shops. These are not big ivory tower law firms. This is Main Street USA, and these are the people who are doing most of the legal work. Also, law schools are closing at a pretty rapid rate. The number of law schools, one in Orange County where I live, has closed, and as a result, it's anticipated that there are going to be fewer lawyers available to service the economy. So we got the ICO biz. What potential opportunities, and I think that maybe, I don't know if, you know, everybody's awake enough, but I would assume, or I'll just ask, how many people are here as lawyers to either learn how to participate or to otherwise grow their practice in an area, this kind of financial tech disruption? Anybody? Are people here to learn? We have a few. People are here to learn. I know I am. So we have things. Small business, just typical stuff. It's startup business. You know, our previous speaker mentioned, you know, about where we need to be. Well, you don't have to be tremendously savvy to start up small business and to become very adept at that. Foreign registration. There's a number of issues. I mean, you know, you've got a number of countries are allowing, I believe that in Estonia, you can, and Switzerland, as we heard earlier, you can get approved as an ICO. Now, you know, what that means to a U.S. citizen has some legal consequences. And then, of course, regulatory compliance. Social justice. I mentioned earlier about changing the world and doing unto others. In the United States, there are 100 million cases annually, and in 80% of those cases, one side does not use a lawyer. The value of those services is $40 billion annually. For every dollar spent, consumers would benefit 3, society would benefit 7. If you think about what happens when somebody buries their head in the sand, they don't think they can afford a lawyer. I grew up very middle class, lower middle class. I did not know any lawyers. No lawyers lived on my street. No lawyers were in my community. So people make decisions without the help of legal representation. They get a judgment, maybe a garnishment takes their money out of their bank account. They get their rent check bounces, they get kicked out, they don't show up to work, and the cascade of problems moves on. 2% is spent on marketing in the industry. As I mentioned before, 88% of the legal industry, nearly 1 million lawyers in the United States, are 1 to 4 lawyer shops. Another statistic or fact that people aren't aware of. Anybody want to give me a guess? What is the average annual salary of a lawyer at a 1 to 4 person shop? Anybody? 80? Okay, 80, so pretty close, 65. 65K a year, clearly not a young associate knocking down 200K a year downtown LA. So those lawyers can barely make their kind of, I don't want to say too bad, but to struggle making their mortgage, and we've got 80% of the legal market not having lawyers. It's a disconnect. It's a disconnect, and so I believe that what blockchain is all about is community. It's about developing a system where we take care of each other. And so I believe when you have a community, you have the ability to reach more clients. There's a share of knowledge, so experts like our previous speaker can educate younger lawyers and make us better and help us move along. But most importantly is the ability to change the world. And I think that's the biggest thing maybe missing from the ICO space is true changing of the world. Our solution, and not pitching here, but to let you know what I've done, we have a global legal network. We use a chatbot interface to try to run triage on some of that 80%, and we offer a virtual law office. But this is not exclusive. The technology is collaboration. People can develop things. While I was at Consensus last week, or I guess I'm assuming it was last week, it seems like a whirlwind, but we were working on a protocol for the legal industry, similar to, if you could say, we want to be the Ethereum for legal. But we've been talking about this with Neelam Brar, who's just an entrepreneur there and a kind of a person about town, indicated that what we are addressing is the holy grail of the crypto asset space. And if anybody picked up on the question I asked Greg when he was on the panel, it has to do with custodianship. And if you can think about lawyers and fiduciaries, and you can think about custodianship, and you can think about the crypto space, there's things that can be done. The truth about lawyers: people love lawyers, despite what Shakespeare says, when we solve their problems. In addition to being here and speaking, I am looking for any lawyers that are interested in participating in the space. It's a collaborative endeavor. You can hit me up on Telegram if you like a QR code. You can text Law Summit to 21777 or One Law. It's just Jason at One Law. Late in the day, appreciate everybody's time, and so thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Does anybody have any immediate question for Jason? Yep. Okay.
Oh, sure. Oh, so smart contracts. So one of the things we're working on is smart contracts in the realm of the attorney-client retainer. I believe that's one of the biggest travesties laid upon society is giving a lawyer $5,000. I'm a lawyer, remember, giving a lawyer $5,000, $10,000, $100,000, whatever it is, and they are now responsible for delivery of the services on their timeline and paying themselves. Yes, there are rules that govern it, but by and large, the lawyer pays themselves when necessary, and they deliver the work when the client demands it. So a smart contract where you could get paid for A, B, C, D. So that's part of the first thing we're working on is a smart contract to govern the attorney-client fee relationship. Right, milestones with an ability to object or approve, and then a mechanism for if the client says no, but the attorney says yes.
Excellent. Thank you, Jason, so much. We appreciate your time. Thank you all for joining. And we're going to bring up our next panel at this point.